how much stress goes through the rotator cuff with daily activities. Now, for one, Brian was wearing a sling at all times for the first 4 weeks, and that actually makes my job quite a bit easier because I know that they're probably not able to do as much on their own if the arm is kind of glued to their side. They're not able to use it for anything, right? So keep in mind our goal of having less than 15% MVIC on that rotator cuff repair in order to keep things safe, right? And also, if you want to check out these studies, I'll leave them in the show notes. But essentially, I'm taking this information from Long et al. In 2010 from JOSPT, and they're looking at activation of the shoulder musculature during pendulum exercise and light activities, right? And largely, walking using a mobilizer or not is very low stress on the rotator cuff, less than 7% MVIC. Do keep in mind that some folks will aggravate their shoulder and get a little bit flared up just because they walk too much, right? So if that's a 7% MVIC contraction, but you walk for 5 miles, that's a lot of repetition. And despite that being relatively low stress, it's a lot of reps. Sometimes that aggravates shoulders, right? So you just have to educate Brian about that. Don't go for any crazy walks or anything early on. Make sure we build a little bit of control within that joint, get a little stronger before we start incorporating more of that, right? Typing is also largely safe. That was 7.5% MVIC. Brushing your teeth is also safe as long as you're careful. That's going to be 12.1% MVIC or less. Once we get to drinking, it's too much, right? So if I just essentially take a glass of water and put it to my mouth and start drinking it, that's 21% MVIC. So a little too much stress on the cuff, right? So we want to try to limit drinking with that surgical side. Eating is kind of the same story. Eating is somewhere between 14 and 32%. So if I'm eating food, pasta, whatever it is, that's going to be 14 to 32% MVIC, EMG of the supraspinatus. If I rest my elbow down onto the table and eat, it is better. Okay. So if I go in the shower and start washing myself, washing my hair is the toughest thing for my shoulder. And that's 23 to 57% EMG of the supraspinatus, which actually is more than just doing abduction exercises, full can exercise, abduction exercises, right? If I lean forward to wash my hair, it's a bit better at 6% to 36%, but you still do risk putting too much stress on that tendon. If you guys are liking what you're listening to right now and you want to continue with the rolling, I have another video for you. It's called When Do Rotator Cuff Repairs Fail? So unfortunately, a chunk of these rotator cuff repair surgeries will fail, right? And it's important as physical therapists to know when these are actually occurring so we can be a little bit more cautious during this time period. So I'll leave a link above my head and go ahead and learn a little bit more about when rotator cuff repairs fail after surgery.